The Chicago street course is exceptionally unique in that it was first created on iRacing as a sort of test to see if it could be a viable real-world circuit. On paper, it looks like another fairly boring street circuit with lots of 90-degree corners and a couple of interesting bits thrown in, but that is pure deception. For one, the track is loaded with very tricky braking zones, particularly in transitions from corner to corner. Also, while most of the track is quite wide, when you head into the arc on East Congress, it narrows up considerably right as you have to float your car through at speed. And there is actually some elevation change in the second half of the lap, and the entire circuit is wicked bumpy, just adding to the braking challenges especially. Finally, on the two sections where you're heading north, the view of the Chicago skyline is breathtaking. Not that our pilots should be paying attention to that in any way, shape, or form. Welcome to Kyle Heyer's home city, round 14, the penultimate round of the Full Send Sims Esports iRacing Spec MX5 League's second season of 2025. Hi all, I'm Greg Creamer, and Kyle, along with a brand new and challenging venue, as we head into our final two rounds, we have one hell of a points battle brewing as well.
Yeah, we really do on the points front. It's still Camden Hibbett leading the way, but Morgan Burkhardt has closed in big time, just 28 points behind Camden Hibbett. Things still need to go Morgan Burkhardt's way in both here and at Mount Panorama next week, but Beans Forster's been bumped to third, and Hibbett's round at Sebring was not all that spectacular, so he's really got to right the ship here. And unfortunately for him, this is one of the biggest challenges on the calendar. This is a really unique racetrack. You touched on in the opening. This is the one time we go street racing. This is the total antithesis of what we saw at Circuit of the Americas a couple of weeks ago. There are no places to run wide here. If you do run wide, you're in the concrete and it's game over.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
I went back and watched that Coda race, and wow. So yeah, I'm really happy that we're coming to a place where the track limits are incredibly well preserved, if you will, in terms of concrete, and you've got to drive precise, and that, that's what is really special about this. And while I wasn't here, and I do want to say a huge thank you to Finian and Connor for filling in for me. I did go back and watch the races, and a couple of things that I've noticed. One, you were talking about just the little struggles that Camden has had and a couple of rough runs, as you said, at Sebring. But the gamesmanship of Burkhardt, and you can look at it as being very impressive, and you can look at it as being a little bit naughty. And you know what I'm waiting for? And I don't mean that I want to see it, but I think at some point somebody with his slowdown games, at the apex and little things, I'm waiting for somebody to say enough and just punch him off into the weeds. And, I just think somebody's going to lose it and do that at some point. Don't really want to see it here, obviously, with the concrete walls. But nonetheless, I think we are in for a very feisty event tonight. There's no question about it. And the thing is, Kyle, we've got these guys that have come up and are just being absolute interlopers and doing a brilliant job. Carson Neal, James Newell, Hayden Manis, they've joined sort of the usual suspects and been right up at the front. I mean, Newell getting a win, Carson having a tremendous run to second at, I think it was Sebring, maybe Homestead, but really showing some form.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's a lot of drivers that have been up in the mix kind of making things a bit more miserable for drivers like Camden Hibbett, but, and Morgan Burkhardt for that matter. But, I think what we've seen is that the cream is rising to the top as it always does, and the drivers that are dominating are continuing to be that way. But you've got, the whole ship is rising with the talents that we've seen this season, and it's a lot more competitive inside the top five with drivers like James Newell, Hayden Manis, Carson Neal, and so on and so forth. I think, you could probably point at, Nicholas Rice-Puto and Olivier Piatek for not having seasons like we would have expected. Their attendance has also been sort of in and out. But this track tonight, there is no, slip up and recover from a mistake. If you slip up once, and it's going to happen, you bounce off these walls, it's going to hurt. Yep. And this track is just not forgiving. It's bumpy. These are Chicago streets. They did repave some sections to make it smoother, but especially the section coming off of the East Congress Plaza Drive arc that run through turn 10 and 11, you sling through there and jump on the brakes kind of diagonally across the racetrack. We'll jump on board here with a couple of these drivers. See Piatek getting the wall there. But and we'll jump on board with Morgan Burkhardt because he's going to do this to I think the fastest you can do it. You come off that arc and you slam down across the road. It is really rough. We'll jump on board the gyro cam here for this next section and you'll see what I mean.
Okay. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so already you see just the big understeer there through 6, and then you come up over the crest. This is a downhill braking zone into turn 7. This is tricky and tight on exit here too, and blind. And then this is the section I'm talking about. You come into this East Congress Plaza Drive. This is turn 8. You got to just get right up against that wall on the right. This is all fine and dandy. You're flooring it here in an MX-5, but this next turn, turn 10, this flick back to the right. Watch this. Bam, on the brakes.
Oh, yeah. And you're still unloaded from exiting that part of the arc, aren't you?
Absolutely. And then you come up through East Jackson Drive and then into turn 12. This is a pretty standard right-hander here, but that run down through turn 10 to 11, that is a great spot to surprise people, to make an over-under maneuver, but it certainly could lead to a lot of trouble, even with a relatively small field. 15 cars isn't enormous, but it's going to make this track feel pretty tight when you get them all on top of each other, like this, right there, pit exit, and Dylan Lee pops out, and that is how the pit exit is configured, and yes, it has caused crashes. Who knows why?
Yeah, and the thing is, too, you were talking about not being able to make a mistake because the guys at the front, like a Morgan Burkhardt, like a Camden Hibbett, and others, they are going to run wall to wall here. Use every bit of track. They have the ability, they have the car control to do it. And that means if you're going to be running at the front, you're going to have to manage that. And I think it's going to be interesting. I seem to remember an interview in my absence that Hayden Madison about Coda. He said, I'm one of the guys that drops the tire almost every turn. And it was fun having all that room. Not here.
Nope.
So here you've got to dial up like this. Absolute precision, be able to thread the needle. And, and then just racing around Grant Park with Buckingham Fountain, which is one of the biggest fountains in the world, just sitting right there in the legendary old East Congress Hotel. Just incredible.
Yeah, and as far as my distance from it, you mentioned it's sort of a home track to me. It is 4.9 miles from my apartment, so pretty much in the neighborhood as far as those things go. So I have had the pleasure of going and seeing this course set up in the real world for the NASCAR events here, and it's pretty spectacular. As a fan experience, it's a little tricky, but there's a lot of really cool vantage points here, and it's just so spectacular to see it. I mean, you can see it from high above here, just how it's nestled into the city with the skyline and everything in the background. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So
it really is. It really is. And one thing that I noticed there is like the exit one, or the as you come out of one, it's got very much the same feel to me as Long Beach exiting turn 6.
Yeah.
That big wide deal. But then you get up to turn 2, and that's a corner that to me has a real feel of Belle Isle on the exit.
It does, because it leads onto a really long back straightaway, and again, all these corner exits are so compromising. You just feel like you have to give up so much on exit here. This is another one of those right here. This little short chute there, you can't throttle down as soon as you want. That little double apex where the wall kind of goes straight for a second, that throws you off. You want that to be a single apex corner. You want to just see one sharp apex to shoot for, but now you're kind of given, we'll go back through and just watch this again so you can see what I mean.
Yeah.
But right here, where you see that little wiggle as he came through there, it's just your mind wants that to be one section, but it's two, and it's actually really deceiving. As you come through here again, that little wiggle there's your single apex on the right of turn 3, but then right here, you turn in, you want that to be the apex? Just kidding, it's right there. So it just throws you off. And it is a mind-bending racetrack to try to find speed at, let alone race on.
Well, and like any street circuit, when you're going from one side of a public road to another, you're also dealing with camber, and you got the fall off at the exit of a turn, and you can particularly see that in 4 and 5, where you crest and then it just dips away and you lose all the grip.
Absolutely. Piatek up to 3rd here in qualifying, though. Again, we talked about how his performance this season, he's sitting 8th in the standings, and a lot of that's by virtue of just having a lot less starts than everybody else, but he's here tonight.
Yeah, and when he shows up, he's here, and he's got wins, quite a few wins this year, and he is, he's definitely one of the front runners. We just wish he could be a little bit more. Here's what I'm talking about. See that? It raises, it drops.
Yeah, right when you need that grip too. I mean,
exactly.
And then again, you have to commit really early because this is a crazy long straightaway. This is not a slow street course by any stretch. We kind of related some of it to Belle Isle, but Belle Isle is a much slower racetrack, with the exception of just that one straightaway. This has a couple of those. It's just really built. Again, it was designed in collaboration with iRacing, but this was designed as a stock car circuit. So it has a lot of straightaways and a lot of heavy braking zones because that's what makes stock cars race really good on road courses. Yep. And with that, you get those long stretches and then these tricky elevation drops, and it is a cool facility. But Camden Hibbett still chasing Burkhardt on the racetrack and on the timesheets. 0.2 of a second.
By a little bit of it, yeah, a couple of tenths. That's a chunk. Of all the corners here, the one that really seems to bite people the most is that turn 6. As you turn in, there's Buckingham. Oh,
yep.
Man, that's so gorgeous. When you turn into 6, does it fall away at the exit? Because see people pushing into that, heading straight toward that wall so many times.
Yeah, but you want to relate that to a corner. It feels a lot like Long Beach Turn 1, where you're coming off of a really long straightaway, and then it's just a lot narrower than you expect it to be. The camber doesn't help, but then the exit of the corner dumps you straight into a tire bundle there. So there's just not a lot of room to play with. But there's a look at the course, and we've got cars on the racetrack getting gridded to go racing here shortly. They're going to have a full pace lap to get things done. But again, have a look at the weather here. Thankfully, it's relatively cool. It's way cooler outside in real life. I can confirm that it is about 15 degrees Fahrenheit right now out there in the real world. But
and windy, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. It's the best. So, so there's a great look at the field. We got some time to talk about all sorts of stuff upcoming here, Greg, including the finale next week and the partners, people that make it all happen, too.
Yeah, well, we need to say, obviously, a big hello and thank you to the folks at Full Send Sims, in particular, Court Schmidt. Just checked in with him, and he's not racing tonight. He's driving back from a business appointment in New York as the Full Send Sims empire is growing. Let's put it that way. But again, just an incredible job creating these amazing sims first and foremost, and then also creating a couple of wonderful series for people to use those sims in. We also want to say thank you to Sabel for their role. They have stepped in terms of safety gear. They are the best. FARA, the Formula and Automobile Racing Association Florida-based series that are wrapping up their season in December with their big Racing Champions. And then, of course, the two that have been with us from the beginning, 3P Logistics and Final Turn Motorsports prep shops that you just, if you're going to go racing, check in with them. They will get you going. And, of course, Wine Country Motorsports, the racer's resource for all sorts of things. And they have been with us for a long time as well. Looks like we got a pace lap underway.
Sure do. Let's go through the starting lineup on the front row. It's Morgan Burkhardt that leads the field to the green. He will be in second in the standings at the drop of the green flag, fiercely chasing Camden Hibbett, who will start alongside him. Hibbett is the championship leader as it stands. Olivier Piatek ended up third on the grid, with Carson Neal running in fourth place in the number 141. Strong season for him, hoping to climb up inside the top 5 in the standings before the season's over. Driver that he's trying to catch, one of them is James Newell, who starts 5th alongside Beans Forster, currently 3rd in the standings, who rolls off 6th here. Then it's Hayden Manis and Deacon Greenfield starting on the outside of row 4, Greg.
And then let's move up to starting in 9th, the number 2 of Dylan Lee. And starting 10th, one of our newcomers who's been very impressive, William Venselkama. Been great to have him with us. Then starting 11th, one of our regulars, the 89 of Jim Friedhofer, and also the number 042 of Seth Pullman will start in the 12th spot. Starting 13th is Nate Himmelsbach, and the number 43, Sawyer Richards, will start 14th in his 125. And rounding out the field, starting 15th to 73 of Wayne Buttermore. So, as we said, a little bit of a light field here, but one that is very deep in terms of talent. And again, we have 4 races, 2 here and 2 at our season finale, which we haven't really had a chance to talk about. We'll hit that in the break because it's going to be amazing. But let's go racing here. The streets of Chicago await.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I love street racing. I like driving them in the simulator. It's a bit more stimulating to the mind than, one of those super flat, wide circuits that we've kind of gotten used to for road racing. So something a little different tonight, racing in Chicago, challenging the streets, the little bit of elevation here, the tight walls, and then figuring out a way to pass. It's all going to come down to these last two events for Burkhardt and Hibbett here, Greg. We roll out of the final corner and up towards the green flag.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Herman Tilke would look at this layout and go, WTF. We are green as we are ready with our penultimate round of 2 races tonight. Burkhardt on the pole, the inside, and that's going to pan off for him as he gets to the lead. Ooh, already Camden Hibbett slapping the wall on the exit of turn 1. Don't want to do that early and knock something askew in the handling of that car. Otherwise, like everybody has gone through fairly cleanly. Yeah,
and again, you don't want to do that even once, because the second you kind of brush up the right or left side of this car, you're going to do it again and again and again. The walls feel sticky almost because it'll just keep dragging you in, and the damage can happen a little by little. You see the first time through turns 3 and 4, pretty dicey through there, but we've got it sorted out. Burkhardt over Hibbett over Piatek as we head up the backstretch towards turn 6. We're on South Columbus Drive.
Yeah, this really tricky turn 6 that we've been talking about. You look how wide it is here. Burkhardt turns in, and it's a third as wide. Ooh, 2 abreast through there, and that was pretty gentlemanly. They gave Hayden Manis a little bit of room there so that he didn't get into the wall. That was James Newell giving him just a little bit of space. Now through turn 7, and this is our first time in speed through the arc, as we call it, East Congress Plaza Drive. And it's a quick right and then a long left and then another right into that tricky braking zone for 11.
Yeah, so far everyone's made it through there without much drama, if any, but everyone's just kind of getting their bearings right now. I think they kind of understand if you push too hard too early, you can get yourself in trouble. Kind of get your bearings, feel out where your competitors might be weak. The one thing that's really nice about street courses, racing cars like this, it's really easy for people to make a mistake that impacts their exit momentum, which without the long straightaways can really help you find an advantage where you don't have the draft to help.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and Camden, whatever that little slap to the wall at the exit of 1 at the start, doesn't seem to have affected his pace at all.
And he was brave going down there into turn 2. Watch this again as they came down into the second turn. Camden saw an opportunity here and just tried to go up the inside right there, but just bailed out last second. Didn't quite work out. Now he's going around the long way and going to try to tuck up underneath. Not quite.
Nope. And anytime you do that, obviously, you run the risk of the car behind you. In this case, Olivier Piatek. And we've got, is that Beans?
It was Beans Forster, hard in the wall.
Oh, no.
And this is going to be terminal, and it was all on his own. Did he clip the wall? Right there, caught it, and actually broke the left front on that wall. I thought he had broken it on the inside. But that's it. Game over, race 1.
Boy, and he's came in here third in the points, still mathematically in contention for the championship. That's going to hurt in more ways than one here. Hop on board with Morgan, looking back now at second place, Camden Hibbett, who is the points leader. And Camden does not want to see Morgan get away here in these last 2 rounds or 4 races.
And Camden's driving really hard right now. He had Burkhardt on defense headed down into turn 7. So we know that he is racy and ready to go here.
Just to put it in perspective, Camden comes in here with a 28-point margin over Morgan Burkhardt, and you're thinking, well, that sounds pretty healthy. Yeah, except there are 100 points left to go, including the 2 races tonight and then the 2 at the season finale. And so, he and Morgan has been an absolute machine as of late.
Yeah, he's just been mowing them down left and right. A couple consecutive sweeps at Barber and then just last time out at Sebring. So he's just, again, just mowing down the points. And that's not something that Camden Hibbett can afford at the moment. That's why he's been so aggressive early on.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong in this, but these are both now 3-time champs.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah, so these guys are duking it out to become the first ever 4-time champ here in full send sims competition here. And the 2 of them have made a little break on Piatek here, Kyle.
Yeah, and I'm just watching the gap between Burkhardt and Hibbett. Burkhardt is starting to sort of relieve the pressure that Hibbett was building up, and I think Camden can sense that. I think there's definitely something to be said about just get the lead from Morgan no matter what, and then you can deal with having to hold him off later, but it's just hard to run him down.
Oh, truly. And you saw Piatek there getting the wall at the exit 6.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, it was just a glancing blow, but we saw sparks, so it was a fairly solid hit. Here's that arc. I really like this complex here. And then that bump, huge bump, and then you got to get the car straight, get on the brakes, and then get through a very tricky turn 11, then up and over the bridge, down into 12.
You know, it's just that bump. It's a way bigger deal in cars that are more stiffly sprung than this, but it still kind of throws you off. You can't hit the brakes until the car is settled. So something to keep our eyes on. Camden Hibbett was 0.3 slower that lap compared to Burkhardt. And in the background, a little bit of a scuffle going on here. Greenfield slow and has a lot of damage.
Oh boy, yes he does.
He might not be able to. Yeah, I thought his performance is definitely degraded. And I wonder if that was before this. It looks to be.
Coming up, yeah, he's behind Dylan Lee here.
He's already got some pretty significant corner damage. I wonder if he picked it up. Additional here? Doesn't look like it. He had that from earlier in the lap, but it was definitely slow leaving the final corner.
Yeah, he sure was.
I find that run into turn 4 and 5, I think that is the hardest one for me. Just you're carrying so much more speed into turn 4 than you think you are.
Yep.
And then you run out really fast. Look at Camden, he's made a big run on Burkhardt here.
He has, and I wonder if we're starting to see Morgan thinking that, all right, Camden's quicker than I thought, so I want to back him up into traffic. And, you know, Morgan, you guys in my absence, and you and I have talked about it too, is how Morgan can drive so many other cars on the track by where he places his car and where he slows and accelerates and all these little things here. And, you know, the two of them were easing away, and now we've got, what, a 7-car battle here, 6 cars.
But then look at what
Manus.
Burkhardt just did. He backed him up and then drove off again to exactly the same gap he had before. So he was just trying to drag more people into, you know, I wouldn't. It's so hard to look at this and say that he's doing this intentionally, but we know how good Morgan is. So, you know,
absolutely.
We know now that he's doing this as part of his plan. However, I don't think he's planning on Hibbett being so hyper aggressive. Hibbett goes to the outside. This will be a cross. Oh, he's going to try to stick out there, but there's just no grip offline here.
Nowhere to, and again, you know, as you get outside, you get more of that loss of camber effect as well.
Right.
Ooh. Big swing here by Piatek, and this is at turn 4. And I see, you know, I mean, you go through 3 so fast, and that entry to 4 is blind
and uphill, so the track drops away.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you have a blind corner that you're clawing uphill, where the track falls away right as you turn in. So and there's just a tire wall that's just on the racing line. So good luck. I mean, it's just they designed this place for people to hate it. I think Wayne Buttermore's got problems. Ooh, that's a big one in the background, and he's off at 4.
Yeah, that was.
Hold that thought, because we got a challenge for the lead. And, Hibbett tried. He's in the fence.
He grazed that left rear corner.
Yeah, we'll go back and catch the Buttermore replay here shortly, but these drivers are a little volatile at the front, I'd say.
Yes, they are.
Gosh, that bump is big.
Oh. You know, and I just love to hear, you know, you got a street circuit with these tight corners. And as always, with everything, it seems Spec Miata related, they're on the throttle before they even really get to the apex. I just love it.
I bet you this place, it would be a lot of fun with a low horsepower car, because the commitment meter is just enormous. So when you drive a stock car around here, it can feel a little tedious at times, just trying to get power down when the rear end is bouncing up and down everywhere. But these cars, nothing tedious about it. You're just threading the needle the whole time.
Yep, and they are quick. I mean, you're absolutely flying in these cars around here.
Yeah, feels like you're just flying a fighter jet through skyscrapers. I mean, you just don't have any control. All right, let's go back and see if I can grab the Buttermore issue. Oh, he was broken at turn 3.
Yeah. Well, that was
right here. Oh, he's going to get turned into the wall. Oh.
Yep. That was a big hit, and then it gets even bigger here.
Oh, yeah.
Whack.
Underneath the cameraman there.
Yep.
That was contact with 125 of Sawyer Richards.
Yep.
Here we go again. Camden Hibbett up the outside. He got into the wall on turn-in, but this might...
Turn-in.
Look at this.
Wow. That just pitched him into the corner almost, didn't it?
Yeah, wrong side of the road, though. It's going to be tough for him to hold. He's there, though.
He's there. Oh, wow. This is fascinating.
Yeah, couldn't hold the swing to the right.
Pace.
Yeah.
Not enough pace.
And this is the challenge here, and this is not an easy place to pass. I don't even know where you do it. I've never seen a pass in Spec Miata or SM at this racetrack. So, see, Morgan on defense here. That'll open him up on exit.
Yep.
And he tried to back him up, just like you were talking about, and Camden drove in the back of him there.
Yep. At some point, like I said, I just get the feeling that somebody is going to say, all right, we can play that game and just whack them one.
Yeah, I mean, almost always it's the car at the rear that is at fault for an incident, but when you're parking it on the apex, you can only do that so long before you expect to get moved.
I would agree completely.
And it's one thing if you're just slow at the apex, but intentionally jumping on the brakes, I think is what's going to get you rear-ended. You know?
Exactly. Ooh, he got a great run. Hibbett got a fabulous run.
And he'll get overlap here, I think. And he has. Oh, he's going to get squeezed.
Oh, he got squeezed. Woo, this was a battle. This is awesome.
Yeah, so, I mean, the rules of engagement are clear here, I think.
Absolutely.
Gosh, it's so tight.
It is. And as you said, that second wall point that's actually the apex, man, if you turn in a little early there, you're just going to peel the side of your car open. But you've got to get close to it.
Yeah, I've done that more times than I care to admit, just doing sighting laps around here. And Morgan defensive.
Got Morgan shallow on turn in.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with it here because even if you get overlap, the swing to the right, I mean, if you go through there side by side, you'll be 10th by the time you leave there. I mean, you'll get pounced on.
Exactly.
Whew.
Boy, that bump is massive.
Morgan got through there really good, though, didn't he? Just carrying good speed. Camden was quick, but just didn't quite carry the exit speed.
Nope. God, this has flown by. Only 8 minutes left. But it has been compelling, hasn't it?
Yeah, just it's a chess match, right? This is one of those places where you know, at Sebring you could draft up behind someone and just drive right on by, and then it always comes down to the last corner. You can't wait on it. There's no strategy to, you know, waiting for the right time to make a move. It's make a move all the time. Where can I make that move is the question.
Exactly. Yeah, and if there's an opportunity, you got to go.
Yeah, I tend to feel like, you know, tracks that are stereotypically hard to pass on sometimes create some of the best racing. Because, you know, you have to eliminate your mistakes. It causes everyone to have to run really close together. And, you know, you have to pounce on opportunities, which makes drivers a little bit more aggressive and riskier. And I think that sometimes is a pretty good show in and of itself, even if you're not passing cars every 3 seconds.
Oh, I agree. Nice job there by Sawyer Richards. Moving well off to driver's left there to let these guys come through. Wayne Buttermore is up in front. And, you know, that's the thing on a street circuit. You can't just hit the disappear button. And now he is going to do everything he can. Now, that may have just backed up Morgan a little bit. He may have just been a little easier through there. But again, now, this section of track, it's virtually impossible to pass it.
Yeah, this is just lining it up, right? It's you know, kind of like turn 10 at Sonoma, right? You can't really make a move down there. You just kind of use it to line yourself up for a potential run into here. But even this is a short run. So you just got to get mighty aggressive, pressure someone into a mistake. And Morgan has been pretty untouchable at the moment as far as making an error.
Yeah, he's been. See happening is at the exit at 10, which is the exit of the arc, where that huge bump is. You get somebody a little offline, they hit that bump, and the car steps out and kisses the wall on the exit. You know, that's really the only opportunity there. But that
Carson Neal just walloped it pretty.
Just walloped it. Yeah.
Go back and have a look at it here. This was through turn 1. Again, turns in, gets to the apex, but just unwinds the wheel a little bit too soon, and pow!
That's a pretty solid hit.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. You see that gap it generated up to Piatek now.
Yep. wonder, has Piatek been laying back, just saving tire here?
Very well
we
could
haven't
be.
seen him join this. He hasn't shown a nose. He hasn't done anything like that. We know he's fast. Oops, Friedhofer having a moment here.
He's sideways over there. That's be challenging to.
Yeah.
Oh, he got hit from behind right here.
He got turned, yeah.
That was the 43 of Nate Himmelsbach that turned him around.
Yeah, that's a shame. I'm just waiting for Olivier to maybe say, okay, it's go time here.
I think his go time will be Camden on attacking Morgan, because once they're both vulnerable, then he can. I mean, picking these guys off one by one, we've watched Camden try to do that for 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, little mistake there from Morgan. Got a little tight. This should be about 3 laps to go this time through. 4 minutes 39 on the clock.
Yeah, this track is 2.2 miles, so it's not particularly long. And some of these straights are.
Yep. Morgan gaining a little bit of ground here, backing Camden up to Piatek. And then Carson Neal and James Newell are fighting another fight back here for fourth. And this is important for their championship battle. James Newell is fourth, Carson Neal's sixth, but Carson's been carrying a lot of momentum as of late.
Yeah, he has. He has shown some really good turns of speed.
I don't know, it's been a little tricky to make maneuvers tonight, but I welcome the difference and just the unique challenge that this offers.
Oh, for sure.
And I think, after a schedule of a lot of, sort of traditional road courses, this is sort of a breath of fresh air, just because we don't really know what's going to happen or how.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think, what's going to be fascinating here, I think the second race is going to be an absolute free-for-all, because now everybody will have a pretty good feel for the track that you don't get in practice and qualifying. Now you've raced it.
Yeah, for sure. The more laps you do around here, the more confident you'll get. I think there's probably two schools of thought here. This is probably one of the most practiced racetracks of the calendar, or the least practiced, partially because I think some people will throw in the towel and say, I'm not even going to bother because I'm going to stink here, or they would have practiced it all week trying not to stink. So I think it's going to be binary, one or the other. And the more laps you get, the better you'll get.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I'm surprised your Piatek is actually losing a little bit of ground. So I wonder if he just doesn't quite have the pace here.
He was a 10th quicker than Camden last time on the time chart, but not in a way that is significant enough to do anything about it. Now this time through, 3/10 slower. I don't know that Camden's got much left for Morgan unless he's trying to make one last run.
Yeah. Well, one thing that, we were watching Camden, and he was being really aggressive, throwing the car in, grazing the walls. And the one thing that I've been watching with Morgan is, I think we saw one moment where the car stepped out a little bit, and otherwise he's just driven it very precisely, and that's easy on tires.
Yeah. Ooh, you see Vansel Kemma, that big understeer moment. He got a bad bounce. That was almost real bad news for him there.
Yeah, it was.
But coming to the white flag next time by.
And Morgan's just he's making his break.
I think one of the shames about this track here in iRacing is it doesn't yet have the night lighting. A couple of years in a row, this Chicago street course race ran into the evening because of rain delays, and it was quite the sight with all the street lighting and everything. No, there was no actual lighting, just street lights and city lights. It was really cool. I kind of wish they had done that.
Yeah, I bet that was gorgeous.
Yeah, pretty interesting. We hadn't gotten rain in quite some time the first couple of years, and we had torrential downpours all weekend.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
They shortened the race one year. The race was too long anyway, so it worked out.
I know they had. If the white flag comes out, I know they had canceled some concerts.
Yes.
Because of the rain.
Yeah.
It was that bad. Yeah.
It was pretty atrocious. I watched a couple of those races from my house because the TV production was actually pretty solid. So,
good.
Which is rare these days, but. Up onto the backstretch for the final time on South Lakeshore Drive, right up against that concrete wall. And Morgan Burkhardt has been riding a wave as of late. He has not lost a race since November 3rd.
Yeah, it's just amazing. amazing.
He has won
Amazing.
7 straight races, about to make it 8. Oh, Carson Neal.
See, Morgan got the wall there.
Yeah.
Just a flick, but it was. I mean, he kissed it. There's no question of that. So he is putting a lap in here.
Yeah, keep my eye on Manis and Lee back here. It's getting a little bit tight here with this group.
Look at this.
Yeah.
They are closing it up, and Vanselkama right at the end of this mix too.
Yeah, just waiting to see if there will be any last-ditch efforts.
Sure looks like it.
Here comes Manis on the outside, going to maybe over-under here and try, but again, Newell. See, again, parking it on the apex. That's how you can sort things out here. Oh, they're all sideways now, trying to get past each other. Oh, contact, and that's what you were waiting for. Big pile up. And it's a crash on the backside of the course.
It's a big one. It is big, yeah.
And Vanselkama up to 5th.
What a great piece of driving. Onto the front straight we go. Checker flag flies. Morgan Burkhardt continues his run. Camden Hibbett, a fighting second. And again, Olivier Piatek just clearly didn't quite have it in this first race here. But what a show those 3 guys put on, particularly as we watch this battle that's continuing. You see Dylan Lee hurt, just trying to lip it around and get some sort of a finish.
Yeah, that car is just going to make it to the stripe. I think James Newell might sneak by him here right at the end as they approach the start-finish line. Yeah, Newell's going to get him.
Oh, so so close.
And we'll go back and watch that replay again, but that was precisely the thing that you talked about in the open, about how long is the patience going to hold over. It wasn't an issue up at the front like we surmised.
No.
It was somewhere else entirely, but.
Yep.
All right, quick look at the results here before they turn over. Burkhardt, Hibbett, Piatek, Neal, Vanselkama, your top 5, with a big shakeup there in the bottom half of that top 10.
Absolutely. Himmelsbach, Ullman, Newell, Lee dropping back. Greenfield had his issues from the off. But what a run by William Vanselkama. Keep in mind, folks, as we see Manis, Forrester, the other drivers that were struggling, keep in mind that Vanselkama joined us, I think, 3 races in after having raced and shown his medal in the Spec Miata season, which is not televised. And he stepped in here, and he's been a player right from the off. And that was a great run by him.
Yeah, that was pretty fun to watch. We'll wait for the session to turn over before we go look back at that replay. We'll talk about the season finale, show you a bit from Full Send Sims. We'll be back with race 2. But as the session's just turned over, let's go back and have a look again at the incident through the arc, we'll call it.
Yeah.
And this was, so they come in here with Newell leading this group, Hayden Manis right in tow. And again, I think the patience had already run out prior to this.
Yes, I agree.
Right here, gets into the back of him, turns him around, and this just becomes track blocking nightmare here.
Yep. See, 4 cars should have been involved in it, but a very savvy Vanselkama just brake, turn hard right. Watch it in real time here, folks.
Yeah, let's watch it on board with William. This is quick thinking. The track neck's down here, so to see this, avoid this, and dart through. Whew.
Yeah. And I'd like to see that from Hayden's on board, too.
Let's do it. Yeah, I think he was just trying to poke the nose in here. Right there, just the slightest tap. Yeah. He wasn't pushing him consistently. It was just a little, and there was some damage to the rear of Newell's car, I think, that also contributed. If you go back and look, that big dent in the rear, I think when they kind of swiped bumpers, it's what caused those things to hook.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know what I was looking for was some sign that Newell had checked up big time.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Yeah,
I didn't either. Yeah, so that was, like you said, just close quarters racing. And then that damage probably, like you said, hooking the bumper.
Yep. Well, with Chicago about halfway through, of course, we end the season at Mount Panorama Circuit next week, Greg. That's going to be the season finale. You and I picked that because we're sick. But I'm really excited to see that.
We truly are.
It's going to bring the speeds way up. We'll probably see 130 plus going into the chase.
Yeah, into the chase, and you think about the climb up the mountain and then heading down the mountain, and just the insanity of that track with the talent of these drivers. It is going to be spectacular. So You are not going to want to miss that. That'll be next Tuesday night, folks, and it's going to be epic. I really think so.
Yeah, can't wait for it.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of a great way to end the Season 2 coverage with one of the most spectacular circuits on the planet. And we'll know more about the next season and what 2026 will hold, I'm sure, not too long after that. We're going to take a very short break, and here's a piece from Full Send Sims, and we'll be right back right after this.
Simulation will never replace real-world racing, and I don't want it to.
Full Send Sims provides custom-built, top-notch simulators from whatever your budget is. We want to find the best fit for you.
We build rigs for pro drivers where we go and measure their cars, every measurement one-to-one down to the millimeter. You can drive these sims and certify basically to race a car in the real world. Matter of fact, this weekend we have 2 guys that work with FSS that have strictly been sim racing for the last 5 years.
Absolutely did not think a year ago I'd be driving a race car this weekend. However, getting into the simulator, I think it really helped me get on the track and stay competitive.
I've been a sim racing instructor for about 2 years now. The benefit of working with me as a race coach, I'll get you to be a better driver, a lot faster, with a lot less mistakes than you could doing it on your own.
We take the sim building and the sim training as serious as possible. It's not a video game, it's a training tool.
Full Send Sims will offer fully custom-built rigs and delivered and installed into your own home, and constant online service. What we offer is world-class, top-notch racing, built by a community of racers who enjoy passionate, clean racing.
Everybody, as we are getting ready for the second of our doubleheader races here on the Chicago Street Course. The first race, pretty darn interesting, no question about that. But I really, Kyle, as we were talking about, I think this next race, now that everybody has raced this and in these cars, I think this is going to go to a whole different level.
Yeah, so we saw Camden and Morgan racing really hard there at the front. Camden especially was being really aggressive on offense. Morgan really aggressive on defense.
Right.
What do we learn by watching Camden Hibbett? Where does the aggression level stand? Is it same aggression, different circumstances will provide a different outcome, or is it you got to turn up the wick a little bit more?
The problem is that if Morgan gets out front, he can drive with such precision and speed that the people chasing him, even Camden, have to push the envelope a little bit. And I think for Camden, and I think he's well aware of this, what he needs to do, or have somebody else do, is get in front of Morgan early. Otherwise, I think it'll come down to some big, desperation lunges and stuff from Camden or others. But if Morgan is out front, it's always a tough chore.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty good chance that if you get Morgan Burkhardt back in traffic, that someone or him possibly could make a mistake and really mix things up if he's not in the lead. When you give him the lead, you give him that big advantage of choosing what everyone does behind him, and I think he's really hard to dethrone and unseat. So. Only one round left after this, and it's another wild card racetrack, so I don't think Camden can afford to finish behind Morgan again.
No, I agree with you there. And I think, in part just for his own confidence.
Right, yes.
He needs to go into Bathurst knowing, okay, I can beat him.
To the point I said Morgan hasn't lost a race since November 3rd. Camden Hibbett hasn't won a race since October 20th. So,
yeah. How often have we been able to say something like that?
Yeah, not often. I mean, this is I don't want to say it's his worst season on record. It might be. I don't think that it is, but it has felt like that, even though he's been on the podium most of those races since I mentioned. But he just hasn't looked as competitive, and I don't know. Well, I don't think he's gotten worse. It's just the situation and the circumstances.
Well, and he's kind of admitted that in some of the interviews where I've never heard him say as frequently as he has this year, I'm not really that happy with how I drove.
Right.
Or, I should have done a few things differently. And yeah, I think Morgan in particular has gotten into his head a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're dead on with that. And I think that started, this season in particular when Morgan said, I'm going to do everything I can to make Camden's life miserable. And regardless of if Morgan did anything or not to act on that, that's what Camden's thinking.
Exactly. But here's the deal. We saw Piatek just didn't quite have enough in that first race. But we saw Carson Neal show some real speed till he whacked the wall. We know Newell can be quick. There are players in this, along with Camden, who have the opportunity and the skill set to get around Morgan. It just somebody's got to do it. And Morgan is just, when it calls for throw it in there, he can throw it in there. But when it calls for driving with absolute precision, he's one of the best.
I think I've seen Morgan Burkhardt, defend on the inside and not get crossed over more times than I've seen any other driver in iRacing ever even make a dive, right? Like just his ability to get on defense and then turn that back into offense on the flip of a switch is really impressive to me.
It is.
When you go on defense, you're usually, admitting and sacrificing the next corner to do that, but he's not doing that. He's able to defend and then come out on top.
Yeah, and what he does is, he parks you.
Yeah.
And he knows just where to put his car and just what to do to stymie the momentum you might have when he goes defensive. And it's incredibly effective. So that's the only way to put it.
With that said, 15 cars lined up again here. And Burkhardt and Hibbett, basically a similar top 5 that we started with the exception of Beans Forster back in 11th. But here we go.
All right, on to the front straight. Last race of this evening here on the Chicago Street Course. Full Send Sims SMX Racing, and we're green! Let's see here. And a big move early by Piatek. Boy, and if he can make this work, and he's got to just stick with it here. This time Hibbett did not graze the wall. Now into turn 2. Piatek is a little wide. Carson Neal going to look to the inside, and that blue car with the yellow roof on it alongside the green 62 with the lightning bolt. It's going to be fun to see what Vincent Kama can do here starting this far up.
Yeah, Piatek, though, he was looking at the lead going through turn 1, but he didn't do it with enough commitment. He left a lot of room, respectful commitment, but didn't follow through, and now he actually lost a spot there. So that's something that when you look at what Morgan Burkhardt might have done different if he was in Olivier's spot, he would have stuck with that to hell or high water, kind of regardless of what the outcome was going to be, and he probably would have come out on top because he's got the precision to do it. So that's just the difference, is being able to make moves like that and commit to them and have them turn out.
Now I want to throw something at you here. We have seen Piatek put in some incredibly aggressive moves, and he doesn't seem to have a problem with that. Do you think because it was Morgan and Camden who are fighting for a championship that he didn't just chuck it in there full tilt, come what may?
Yeah, I mean,
he was showing a little bit of respect.
I think so.
Battle.
There was a lot of room there, a lot of room given. I think if he was in that championship battle, you're right. I think he would have taken some more. But there's also something to consider that they're pretty far and away well ahead of everyone else, at least in terms of pace. And so, in my mindset, I'm going, all right, you guys got your points. I'm going to go get some of my own. And so there's probably a little bit of that at play too, where unless you flat take them out, they're still going to be a threat, even if you put them in the fence.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, and now a little bit of a slide there from Morgan. Now we're going to see what Carson Neal can do about sticking with these guys and trying to get up and mix it as Piatek's glued to the back of him. Then that little gap to Vincent Kama.
Friedhofer.
Deacon. Friedhofer got the wall.
Yeah, that's
good. Yeah.
Broken suspension there too.
Yeah. Oh, what a shame.
Up at turn 4. Again, this is early in the race. It seems where Camden is really strong, and Morgan's still kind of getting his sea legs here, but got to take advantage of it.
Who is that right behind Vincent Kama? That's Himmelsbach, who's having a good run too here.
Yeah, that was partially by virtue of that little shakeup at the tail end of the first race, but he's running P6. Seth Spolman, and then Beans Forster's up 3 spots from where he started in 11th, though he's under fire now from Newell into turn 7.
Yeah, well, Newell is on the same mission, isn't he, here?
Yep.
Try and get to the front, and Manis, you know, and Lee. there's a few cars out of position here for sure.
The problem is if they all need to gain positions, math doesn't work like that. To gain something, you got to leave something behind.
Yeah. Ooh, good run there by Piatek out of 11. I don't know that he has enough to try something on Neal here.
Yeah, I'm watching Hibbett kind of back up the corner a bit more, slowing more on entry to gain more on exit. But these are, you know, in some cases, longer corners than you think. And so he lost a little ground there, just being a bit too conservative on that entry speed. This is a mess back here, though.
Yeah, it sure is. Bean's going to try and get by on Spolman, and he's got, what a, talk about not telegraphing a pass. Newell, that was brilliant.
Yeah, Forster's going to grab a spot here from Newell back, and then Spolman should be able to carry some of that speed onto the backstretch. Again, Newell with that significant rear end damage, so he's had someone to the back of him before. We'll see if these guys have learned anything. Pushing and shoving with that bent rear bumper doesn't work out great.
Now watch as they open up here. Does Dylan Lee come up the inside of Spolman? He had a pretty good run. No, couldn't quite get there. Man, he was close, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Just trying to set up another run here. Watching the Deltas come down as they leave the corner. Lee on defense from Manis. And here comes Manis on the attack.
Looking to the inside, wasn't quite close enough. Here we go through that tricky turn 6. And then this braking zone is really fascinating to me. You know, it's kind of like coming down to turn 5 at Elkhart and making a right-hander.
Yep. It has that feel. The track kind of flattens out right at the turn-in point, but the run up to it is a pretty steep downhill.
Yeah, exactly. Good look there at Deacon in the office. Man, if he could get a couple of races where he had some kind of good luck.
Yeah, he had some momentum going for a little while, but otherwise has been a pretty tough season.
It has.
The middle
he started.
Yep, go ahead.
It started a little rough, and then, as you said, he really found some pace. And but then it's just sort of tapered off.
Yeah, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight top 10s, but since October 27th, he's only had 2.
Yeah.
So
it's been a rough late season for sure.
Yeah.
Beans now trying to get to the back of Himmelsbach.
And no changes up front, so we're focusing a little bit deeper in the field. Here's Manis and Lee once again side by side. Although this time I think Manis should have enough to clear Lee, and he does. Lee, ooh, he almost turned him.
Oh, that was close.
See just the track dipping there as you kind of brake for turn 4 as well. A couple big bounces you take that can throw off your braking. Good news is these cars do have ABS. Any car without ABS, like the stock cars, if you lock up, goodbye. And for the lead, here comes Hibbett up the inside and takes it from Burkhardt. That came out of absolutely nowhere, but Burkhardt still got the inside lane here. He's going to earn this right back, I think.
Hibbett's going to try and force him around the outside, but now it's going to get really, really dicey. They're surely not going side by side through the arc. Well, yes, they are.
Yeah, but it's still going to be advantage Burkhardt here. He's going to shove him a little bit of side to side, and Hibbett's got it. He took the lead away finally. It took him a race and a half, but he's got it.
Yeah, Burkhardt got a little wide through the arc. The back end stepped out just a little bit, and just a little save. Oh, and Burkhardt late dive down the inside through the final turn, 12. Now, he's not on the right side of the track here, but he is coming back after him, and look at that heart rate. I've never seen it over 140 for Hibbett, and it went to 149, folks. He knows.
Yeah, Morgan's
he knows.
a little wide there.
Morgan a lot of room, though.
Yeah, he's got to get more aggressive than this. You saw how aggressive.
He does.
Morgan knows how crucial it is. He's going to take it back.
Yep.
And again, they've bound everybody up now, but Morgan saw how critical it was to have track position, and he didn't wait. He just went for it, got the car stopped somehow. No idea how.
Piatek swinging way wide. And, you know, just so we know, on that lap, when Hibbett threw that pass at him, he made up 3/10 on that lap.
Yeah, and
It was a hell of a lap he put together.
I don't know where he got that from, but he's going to have another big run right here. This is how he did it last time. But tucking back in line, going the outside here. This is a move I haven't seen, but he's going to try it. I like that if you can get the overlap to keep it.
Yeah, and he's not gonna though, I don't think.
No, he didn't. But again, I like that because it sets you up to be in an advantageous spot into turn 7, which has been hard. But let's go back again and watch this run through here. This was last lap around.
Watch Morgan right there. Right there. See that back end just stepped out a little bit. And I think he was just off the normal line, and it's a little slippery out there.
Yeah, and then when they come up the hill here, this is what kind of surprised me is, again, I can't believe Morgan got the car slowed down. I thought for sure they were going to make contact, but maybe a little touch there.
Yeah,
but
with you. But that little bit of dicing has brought, obviously, Piatek and Piatek now around on Neil and brought him right into it as well.
Yeah, it's got to be frustrating because you had the lead, you tasted it for a second.
Exactly.
But I just don't think, I mean, frankly, I don't know that there was enough aggression there from Camden. He's doing this the right way. I got to give him credit for that, but it's also, really hard. You see how hard Morgan has raced everyone around him. If you're not racing up to that level, I think he's going to take advantage of you. And I think contact here, Himmelsbach is in the wall. And that's crash over. This was contact here, I think maybe, he turned in and had Beans to his inside. And that just used up all the racetrack he had.
Yeah, nothing he can do. Oh, and Hayden Manis did a beautiful pass on Lee and Spolman in that little bit of a mess there.
Yeah, they're still scrapping.
I noticed that Hayden has gone back to his normal graphic instead of the brick one. Oh, but then he gets the wall.
Well, he just rubbed it off, so he can put a new one on next week.
On the back of the car, it says Miata or brick. So
yes.
He's still going with that. But
I did note that. That is something a little different. All right.
This little battle up front here.
Yeah, 5 cars, including William Vanselkema. So William's taking advantage of that couple,
he's doing a nice job.
3 positions he gained in that incident, and he is not giving them back.
You know what? The only guy who ran a faster lap than Vanselkema on that last one was Piatek.
Wow.
Yeah, Vanselkema he has come to play, folks. 9.5 to go here. What can Hibbett or Piatek or possibly Neil do here? Yeah,
so I'm kind of zeroing in, and I think Morgan has figured this out as well, and that's why we saw him make the move he did. Camden's really good leaving turn 5 and really poor leaving the final turn.
Yeah.
So I think, that's where we saw Morgan take advantage of Camden's overslowing and why we saw Camden make that move on Morgan on this straightaway from 5 to 6.
Yep.
And we're seeing it again here.
And when Camden got to the lead and then Morgan got back underneath him at 12, I think Camden was way too conservative into 1.
Agreed. Yeah, I think he could have held on to it there to use him up a little bit more. But that's Camden isn't going to strong arm his way into this. At least he hasn't shown that he was going to do that this season.
That's true. That is very true. All right, these two start to make a little break now, Kyle.
Yeah, I think Camden would like it that way, so he doesn't have to worry about behind.
Yeah. And as they say that, they're all over him here.
Doesn't take long, does it?
No, it doesn't. And you wonder if we're seeing a little bit of, as soon as they make that little break and Camden can just focus, big plume of smoke there, can focus on Burkhardt if Burkhardt doesn't pull one of those little overslows to make sure that somebody is filling Camden's mirrors.
And Camden's looking a little bit better through the final turn that time.
Yeah. How much of a draft do you think on this straight?
Not a ton.
Not a lot.
You're just touching about 110 miles an hour, so you're going to get a little bit, but it's not we'll see a lot more next week. Little puff of smoke there from Burkhardt. I don't know that was on his side. I think that was sort of server side. It was so light.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of desync can sometimes cause that.
And now, again, they start to make this.
Oh, here we go.
Ooh, Camden knifing to the inside.
Little contact there.
A little bit. And again, he gave Morgan a lot of room, though.
But that's how he's going to get it done. I just don't. You're not going to get 10 bites at the apple with this. You got to get it and do it in one fell swoop.
Exactly.
And Morgan will start covering that, which will make it really impossible. Because I think that's Camden's go spot, and Morgan's seen that twice now. So don't give away everything that you've got.
I sort of want to say to Camden what I said to one of the Grid Life drivers last year. Don't be so darn nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely consideration that, at this stage, Morgan has to basically keep doing what he's doing, but he hasn't really been challenged. And every time someone's brought him aggression, he's given it back plus some. So you just have to. I mean, that's because he can do it without wrecking you, but it doesn't mean that it's going to make you feel good.
Exactly. Oh, swinging to the outside here.
Yeah, just maybe make Morgan shallow up a little bit. That could be a winning strategy, but where do you go with it here? I didn't hate that.
No, I didn't either. But did Morgan just drift 4 and 5?
He slid through there pretty fast, didn't he? But it did bring Camden back into the conversation here, and he forced Morgan to kind of get on defense and look in his mirrors.
Yeah, I'd like to go back and see that from a different angle here. Woo! Trying to sell him the dummy.
Oh, he's there.
Underneath. Oh, and into the wall goes Morgan.
Yeah, that was
and
a
here comes Piatek.
Yeah, nowhere to go, though.
Had to brake hard. Wow. Well.
Oh, crash! And that'll be it for Burkhardt. He's out.
Yep. Big hit.
And that was a matter of time, I think, between what was going on here. But crossover, cross under, and again, I think there was a little bit of, was he tracking out all the way? I don't know, because if he was trying to cover that off, that was exactly what you were talking about could happen.
Yep.
Yeah, and had a bad bounce there on the bumps and everything. So that, just like that, out of the race and done. That is going to be huge for Camden's championship hopes. But he's not done yet, because now Piatek sees this opportunity and got Camden's in the wall.
Piatek nerfed him right into the wall. And, that may not have damaged Camden, but it sure scrubbed speed. And just like that, he went from the lead to potentially third. And is third. Here comes Vansel Kama diving down to the inside. Not quite enough there. Now Piatek going after Neil.
Yeah, this is...
And look who's right at the back of Vansel Kama. Beans Forrester has worked his way up into the lead battle here.
Yeah, that is impressive work there by Neil and Piatek, though, to sneak through. And that's not what really Camden wanted. He got what he needed as far as dispatching Morgan Burkhardt, but now he's got to do it all over again with 2 cars now. So this, again, in the championship fight, this is still a net positive for Camden, but it's just the math is hard.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think he would have been fine, except that Piatek just touched him, and it got Camden to just touch the wall. And it didn't hurt the car, but it just scrubbed speed. Killed some of that momentum, and those 2 guys, Neil and Piatek, were able to get through.
Yeah, so.
All right. 3 minutes to go, essentially. So is that 2 laps or 3?
This will be 2 to go this time.
2 to go. All right. What can Hibbett do? Boy, look at Vansel Kama defending on Beans in the background, too.
Yeah, chance for a podium.
Yeah.
Has Vansel Kama been on podium before? Looks like he has been close. Best finish of a 5th back at Summit Point, race 2.
All right, here we go. There goes Piatek taking a look. Going around the outside of 3 into 4.
Boy.
Oof.
Well, that was impressive, and he got it done. Piatek to the lead.
Wow. And I thought that Neil had lost so much momentum. Well, maybe we're still going to see it here. Here comes Hibbett.
Yeah.
Hibbett likes this outside-in move here.
Yeah, I think he'll have.
He's going to outside it here.
Yeah, I think he's got second safely. Here comes Wenzel Kemma for third, up the inside of Neil. Now Neil's going the wrong direction.
I wonder if Neil had some sort of damage from something here.
I think he just got unlucky a couple corners in a row with car placement and got shuffled on the outside. Yeah. And now Hibbett all over Olivier Piatek with a lap and a half to go.
Ooh, this is going to be fascinating.
Oh, in the wall, Piatek.
Ooh, big hit.
That was a pretty sizable one.
Yeah, that's that bump that I was talking about. Oh, he's hurt. He was defending.
Just trying to keep Camden behind him, but
yeah,
it's going to be hard to do. White flag, 1 to go, and game on up at the front here. Camden's got to be careful here. The guy he's battling is Morgan Burkhardt. You can't throw this away battling for first or second here. This is a huge advantage. If he ends up 13th, it's all for nothing.
Yep, big picture this, buddy. Big picture. Here we go. Nice job. There we go. Wenzel Kama, Neil, Beans. Wenzel Kama is in a podium spot. What a run he has put in. And I mean, I've been watching his lap times, and he is running lap times equal to or quicker than a lot of the guys around him. Here we go. Tricky. All right. Everybody through 4 and 5.
Yeah, up
Piatek protecting like crazy here.
Little contact.
Yep.
Hibbett on the outside, which he's liked this maneuver. A little more contact there.
Yeah. Oh, man. And he got through and never grazed the wall. Great piece of driving by Camden. He's got position.
Oh.
And he's through. Piatek gets into the back of him.
A little front to rear, but let's see if this will have the same issue we had last time with Morgan leading this train. Here we go, last quarter lap here, Greg.
Here we go, here's the bump. All right, here comes Piatek. Late move. Hibbett squares up, comes back. Wenzel Kama going with Hibbett. Here we go, Hibbett's got the inside. But, Piatek's got some speed around the outside. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Who's going to get there, Piatek or Hibbett? At the line, it's Piatek.
Wow.
What a race. The margin of victory, about 12/100ths of a second. Wenzel Kama gets his first podium finish, and Forrester sneaks through to steal 4th away from Neil in the last third of a lap. But what a race.
That was
fun. Obviously unfortunate what happened to Morgan, but what a race nonetheless.
Yeah, that was a really impressive drag race to the line between these two. But just the crossover, that lunge down into turn 10 and 11 down here by Piatek. This is the kind of commitment you need to win races here at a street course like this. Right here, this big lunge.
Yep. And it was almost like he waited to see Hibbett's brake lights and then just turned hard right underneath and hit the brakes. And right here, this was one of those classic cases of Piatek staying around the outside. Meant Hibbett had to tighten his exit up, tighten the corner radius up, scrub just a little bit of momentum, and it went to Piatek.
Wow, really, really nice job. So that's the cool down lap. They're all still going. It was that intense. But let's have a look here at the race results here, and we'll talk more about the results and what to expect the next couple of weeks here. But what a race. That was fun.
Oh, unbelievable. Piatek getting the win. Camden Hibbett, gave it his all, but also big pictured it enough to not throw it away, as you said, when Burkhardt was out. Wenzel Kama, a first ever podium. Beans Forrester fighting from back in the pack up into 4th, keeping maybe his championship hopes alive? It's a stretch, probably. Carson Neal rounds out the top 5.
Yeah, and then looking down, Dylan Lee, Seth Spolman, Deacon Greenfield, they had a great scrap there late in the going, but a little bit of pushing, shoving, some contact around there. Greenfield ends up 8th. Wayne Buttermore top 10 in 9th, and Nate Himmelsbach in 10th place. Then this is an unfortunate list tonight. James Newell, Morgan Burkhardt, and Hayden Manis, 3 of the notables that have dropped out of the top 10 due to crash damage.
Yeah, and that, by the way, was the 5th win for Olivier Piatek. And once again, we talk about he hasn't run all the races here. Got a pretty good win percentage, up over 30%. So nice job there. And obviously, the speed of Burkhardt winning the first race, Newell, Manis, all of them so fast, but just caught up in some incidents here. But wow, what a first run on the Chicago street course for the Full Send Sims Spec MX5 series, Kyle.
Well, let's chat first with William Wenzel-Kemma, who finished in 3rd, his first podium in the series. William, what a night. That was really spicy. The tail end of race 1, grabbing 3 spots with an incident ahead of you, finishing up inside the top 5. Then race 2, the seas parted, and here you are on the podium. Congratulations. Take us through your night.
Thank you. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Just tried to keep it clean and hang on to the lead pack. I almost lost him there a couple times, but the clock kind of kept winding down, and I was still with them, and then they started battling, and I don't know. This is a lot of fun.
Well, I got to tell you, William, one, your incident avoidance there was just amazing. But I was, in the latter third of this race, the second race here, I was watching your lap times, and oftentimes you were quicker than some of the fast, quote unquote, fast guys in the series here. You started a few races in, but your racecraft has come around exceptionally. And tonight you showed you've got speed, dude. That was fun to watch. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun, especially when there's a wall all around to hit.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to thread the needle. You got to get it done. Drive with precision. Carry speed. You did it all tonight, and congrats. A very well-earned podium.
Thank you.
Thanks, William.
You're welcome. It's been a treat.
All right, let's chat with Camden Hibbett tonight, who finished in 2nd in both races. Camden, tonight was that was a tricky one. With race 1 just all over Morgan, all there for basically the entire race. Then race 2, again, kind of poking holes in the defense. Finally got through, and then things kind of fell apart there at the front. And then it was fun to watch for us at the end, but I'm sure you would have liked things to turn out a little different. Take us through your night and how you feel about the championship coming up next week.
Yeah, I mean, look, I as I told Morgan, right? I just didn't expect him to lift, right? That's a pretty easy flat out corner, almost on a regular basis, right? And I just didn't. I knew he had hit the wall the corner before, a couple corners before, but I just did not expect him to get out of the gas, to be honest with you. So it's unfortunate. I'm sure I'm gonna get the blame put on me, right? But that's how it is, right? It's so hard to pass, right? There was some sense of desperation starting to set in to some extent. Race 1, I just blew off the tire. There was good run by Morgan, right? Made me use my tires enough to not have any last couple of laps. But yeah, I mean, race 2, it's so hard to pass, and there's very little.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I couldn't get my mute button because my cat's in the way, Camden. I'm so sorry.
You're good. You're good. I mean, you can see on the replay there, right? Like, there's just no room, right? And any one chance you get, you got to really take it. Right there, when Oliver went to the right side of 3 wide, I was like, this is gonna be bad, right? Like, this is not gonna. We are going to block the track with NC Miatas. Like that's just so hard to race here. So any chance you get, you have to take advantage of, especially with Morgan. He makes it next to impossible to do anything with. So I mean, right here, I'm just gonna tuck back in a line and try and get him somewhere else, and he ends up lifting through the right-hander. He said he had damage that he didn't feel comfortable going flat through there. I didn't realize how hard he hit the wall originally to warrant that much damage. I mean, it's just unfortunate, right? That's never how that's supposed to go, you know. Obviously, one of my closest friends, mentor, has taught me a lot in the world of motorsports, both driving and the business off-track side. Not how that was supposed to go, obviously. Sucks that that's how it ended up. Hopefully he still has a championship fight going into Bathurst, and it didn't end up ruining his championship hopes, but we'll see.
Well, you know what? We were speculating about this, and Morgan's racecraft, and some might call it game playing, but what he does to overslow, bring the pack back, all this kind of stuff. And at some point, every once in a while, that's going to bite you a little bit. And I understand what you're saying, but we said, we were watching it, obviously calling it, and it was just flat through there. So I can totally understand why you would have been just pinning it and getting ready to try and figure something else out at another part of the track, and just having to go wrong there. Did want to ask you, how much of a surprise was it when Piatek came steaming down the inside of you heading into 11?
Well, I didn't expect it, that's for sure. I was lucky enough to catch it in my mirror, threw it in second gear and tried to get as good of a run as possible. It's so hard to race here, there's nowhere to pass. The one passing opportunity you do get, if you don't complete it, you're screwed, right? Going into the statue section or the little roundabout area.
Yep.
It's really hard. It's a really hard track for these cars with how these cars race, momentum-based chassis, and I thought that I might have a chance to get them through 13. Threw it in second gear, missed the third gear shift, and that was all she wrote. But I mean, I get what you're saying, right, with Morgan. It just it sucks that it happened off my nose,
Sure, of course.
I don't ever try and race that way. That's not by any means the goal, right? Super unfortunate. I know he was pretty upset and frustrated, as he should be. Ultimately, I see it as a racing incident, but that doesn't change the fact that he was the one spinning off my nose that ultimately is probably going to cost him a shot at the championship going into next week. So we'll see. We'll run the numbers, and we'll see what it looks like headed into Bathurst.
Well, two quick things to wrap with. First of all, we have watched you time and again show a lot of respect to your fellow drivers out there. So, that's a given. We know that about you. You're a clean, respectful driver. So don't worry about that. And two, I know it was frustrating, but man, was it fun to watch your creativity through these races tonight, looking for ways to sneak through here, what line to use. I loved your bounce off the wall to help you turn into 6 that one time on the entry to the turn. That was fascinating. So you're just so much fun to watch race, dude.
Thank you, man. I was trying it.
Oh,
usually I can get around them. Tonight it's just a different story. Ultimately, I guess I got around him at some point, but that's it sucks. But sometimes it's racing. I'm sure we'll have a conversation at some point this week and settle it out and move on. So I appreciate you guys for all the hard work. This one will be a fun one to watch for sure. So I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in Bathurst. Season finale coming up.
You got it, bud.
Thanks, Camden.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry for the sneeze.
You're good, man.
All right, let's chat now with Olivier Piatek, the winner of race number 2. Olivier, wow, that was fun to watch, that little scrap there between you and Camden at the very end. But there's a lot of fun on the leader tonight, but things got really spicy at the end. Your thoughts on Chicago and the end of race 2?
Honestly, not the biggest fan of this track. I bought it just for this race, so that's why I was kind of a bit off the pace. I didn't have a lot of laps here, and that first practice session in the session today was my first laps here. I think it was quite a difficult track to pass on, like in race 1 where you saw Morgan checking up the pack to back up Camden. even though he was intentionally slowing down Camden, I still couldn't get by Camden just because it's kind of a 2x2 track everywhere. You can't really force your way by. But yeah, I mean, P3 in the first race is alright, just kind of damage limitation from my end. And then race 2, you know, we had a really good fight in race 2, but I feel like it was just because I was willing to risk it so much more than Camden, and it kind of created an artificial big battle just because I didn't care. I'm not here for the championship, I'm here to win races, so it made it a really nice battle.
Yeah, but I got to ask you, Olivier, in the second race, I thought I saw 2 instances. One going into turn 1 where you could have been a lot more aggressive, but could have risked taking out either of the 2 of them or both. And the other time going into the arc after Morgan tapped the wall and Camden was there, and you made a move, and then you immediately hit the brakes and checked up.
Yeah.
To me, I was seeing a little bit of respect for the 2 guys that are battling for the championship. Was that the case?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm here to win races, but I'm not here to change the championship. And if one of them lost the championship because of them, I'd be really disappointed in myself. I'm good friends with both of them, and I'd hate to ruin one of their championships, especially so early in the race. Like, I knew I could have made something later on in that race, and if I went for that aggressive move on lap 1, it would suck. And that's not how I want to win the race. I want to win it one-on-one with a clean, good battle like I did with Camden.
Yeah, well, and that's class act racing, really. So, last thing. Take us through that lunge coming out of the arc and into turn 11 for the lead.
All night, that's the only corner I've been fast in. So I'm like, every time I've been behind Camden or Morgan, I've just caught them so much in their braking. And I knew, like, I was checking up there intentionally all race to kind of keep that hidden. And then the second I saw Camden get to the lead, I'm like, I'm sending it. I don't care. I mean, even if I crash with him, his championship rival's out, so it wouldn't really change his championship that much. So I'm going to go for the win as hard as I can and just sent it. And he saw me pretty early, and he opened up and gave me plenty of room, and he almost got the crossover on me, but I was just able to keep it.
Yeah, no, it was great. And we had a look at it from your onboard, and it was so cool because the minute his brake lights flashed, you just juked right. And it was like, man, he has been planning this. You could tell. That was awesome, dude.
I was waiting to make sure he wasn't going to brake super late there, because if we both broke super late, we're both out of the race. So I was making sure he was going to brake where I expected him to, and the second he did that, I'm like, I'm just going to send it in. And that's what I did.
It was a great move, and it was a great win, man. 5th on the year. Well done.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, Olivier. All right, let's chat with Morgan Burkhardt. Race 1 winner, race 2 14th. Morgan, tough ending to race 2, but it just got real scrappy out there. Hard to pass, hard to defend without getting kind of pushed around a little bit here and there. Your thoughts on tonight and your chase on Camden going into Bathurst next week?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It was a good time. This track it's a lot different than a lot of the tracks that we go to on a regular basis. So it's kind of fun to get into this one and go. I really enjoy the tight quarters street course action. I think it's one of the most fun things that you can do as a driver. Tool has a big wallop.
Yes.
But it's a lot of fun. The racecraft is definitely different because on most courses you've got tons of time and opportunity to make moves, but not so much here. And with the theme of the last 3 or 4 rounds or however many it's been of just trying to make sure that Camden's always got somebody behind him so that if he makes a mistake, he loses more than just the one spot. That's a lot more difficult to facilitate here. There's big packs. It's dangerous, right? So there's pros and cons, and I think this one's one of the more risky events to do it at. But regardless, I think I had a lot of fun.
Well, and I got to say, in the first race, just watching the precision that you were driving with, and Camden alluded to it, that you just basically ran him off his tires a little bit. He just had to use too much tire. But we've seen you where you've been chucking it in and throwing it around and all that kind of stuff. But you come here, Morgan, and you just drove on rails, in between the walls, but right at the walls. And I saw one slide in that first race. And, driving with that level of precision and that consistency and how that preserves tires, that was a masterclass, dude.
Yeah, no, I was really happy about it. And this is one of those things that I like to say it's up my wheelhouse. Something about just having zero room for mistakes. I love that challenge. And it really took to it this weekend. So I had a couple computer upgrades. I say a couple. I had like the entire computer is now upgraded, so I can see now, and that that made a big difference. So first time being able to see trees in over 50 frames. So I'm really happy about that. And yeah, as far as the championship goes, it's gonna take a miracle next week. I would have had I finished in race 2. It probably would be down to 14 points, which is doable for a round, but now I think it's 36 or something. It's well over 30, so that's it's going to be difficult. I'm gonna be in Indianapolis next week. I'm gonna try and build a sim there in our shop actually, so that'll be fun. Okay. If I'm on next week, I will be in the CSM shop. Bathurst is a lot of fun. That track I've done a lot in GT racing. It's going to be different in a car that has no horsepower. I'm a little worried about making it up the hill, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. It's so fun to watch these cars, you guys, and the way that you guys race. We can't let you go without asking you what happened to the exit of 7 there when you whacked the wall.
Well, I don't remember the corner numbers, but it's the right-hander before the, I guess, roundabout looking thing.
Yeah.
Camden got up the inside there, and I mean, no fault there. He tried to make the move. It's end of the season, end of the race. We're getting aggressive. Made a good move up the inside, got into my corner a little bit, and put me into the wall. And it bent the left rear. Well, I say bent. It moved the left rear out a little bit, give it a little bit of toe out. And I could feel it going through that long left-hander that the car was bucking a little bit. So going through the right-hander, I was going to try and bring the car to the inside a little bit, lift it out about half throttle, quarter throttle, just to bring the car to the inside so that I could defend, because I knew I was running with a wounded car. And then Camden was just so close to the back. I mean, there's not a whole lot of time to react to that, and just doesn't take a whole lot. There's a lot of bumps there. Just got into my back a little bit, turned me around, and then got over a bump and smacked into the fence. So unfortunate at the end of the day.
Yeah,
that is what it is.
Yeah, and I mean that's what he said. He said he just didn't expect you to lift, and and obviously he had the wounded car. So shame that it ended that way. But again, it was an absolute pleasure to watch you drive in that first race in particular. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Morgan. Appreciate your time as always.
Sounds good. I'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
All right, man.
Oh, landed in the wrong place. Here we go. All right, Greg, finishing things off here from Chicago. Fun night, I thought. I mean, a little bit of follow the leader here and there, but that set us up for a spectacular tail end of race number 2. But next week is the season finale, and we'll wrap things up kind of building tension for Mount Panorama in the season finale.
Yeah, and I mean, folks, if you're not familiar with Mount Panorama, take a little bit of a look at try and find some examples of racing on it. It is normally it's public roads that are closed off, and it is one of the most insanely treacherous, entertaining tracks you are ever going to find. And to round the championship up there is going to be just spectacular. There's some looks at it. That's we were talking about climbing the mountain, and it literally, from where you start to the top of the mountain, there it is. That's the elevation change, and Kyle. And then the ride down the mountain is just spectacular. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, can't wait to see it, Greg. And again, this was one of those global racetracks I thought would put on kind of a good show. It brings in a little bit of the street course thing, a little bit of the road course thing, of course, huge elevation, and all this momentum that you build on this run down the hill to carry you into one great passing opportunity into the chase. Looking forward to it, Greg. I'm excited to finish out season 2.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see what it's going to happen here. As always, a big thanks to the folks from Full Send Sims, to Sabelt for what they do, for FARA, Formula Automobile Racing Association, and 3P Logistics, Frank Rodriguez, and Final Turn Motorsports, and Rob Greenwood, 2 of the best full-service prep shops in the business, and Wine Country Motorsports, a huge thank you to you. We are down to 1 round and 2 races left in the final season of 2025 for the Full Send Sims Esports iRacing Spec MX5 Championship. and cannot wait for it to unfold on the streets, again, technically, of Mount Bathurst, or Mount Panorama in Bathurst. Huge thank you to Finney and DeCuna for another great job on the camera shots. And to Kyle, as always, man, brilliant stuff. I'm Greg Creamer. We'll see you Tuesday night.